Sure. Risk and risk management, business risk, sure of. Strategic risk, hazardous risk, residual risk, regulatory risk, operational risk, and financial risk. However, strategic risk that would prevent an organization from accomplishing its objective, financial risk that could result in a negative financial impact to the organization, waste or loss of assets, regulatory risk that could expose the organization to fines and penalties from a regulatory agency due to non-compliance with laws and regulations, operational risk that could prevent the organization from operating in the most effective and efficient manner, hazard risks that are insurable such as natural disasters, various insurable liabilities, impairment of physical assets, terrorism, etc. Residual risk, any risk remaining even after the countermeasures are analyzed and implemented, is called a residual risk. Shroff, strategic risk, H per the hazardous risk, R per the residual risk, R per the regulatory risk, O per the operational risk, F per the financial risk. टेक्नोलॉजिकल रिस्क में उसे ओम सी वेंडर को एसओडी चाहिए क्योंकि उसकी बॉडी में इंटेंशनल थ्रेट्स है, इसलिए वो सोशल गवर्नेंस को कंटिन्यूसली फेल कर रहा है। ओम सीए वेंडर को एसओडी चाहिए क्योंकि उसकी बॉडी में इंटेंशनल थ्रेट्स है, इसलिए वो सोशल गवर्नेंस को कंटिन्यूसली फेल कर रहा है। ओम सीए वेंडर को एसओडी चाहिए क्योंकि उसकी बॉडी में इंटेंशनल थ्रेट्स है, इसलिए वो सोशल गवर्नेंस को कंटिन्यूसली फेल कर रहा है। Hello. O. Obsolescence of technology. M. Multiplicity and complexity of systems. C. Controls. પછી alignment A પરથી alignment છે. પછી S પરથી segregation of duties. Vendor માં 2 point dependence on vendors due to outsourcing of IT services. Vendor related concentration risk. intentional હોવું જોઈએ. threats છે. પછી downtime હોઈ શકે. પછી higher impact due to intentional or unintentional acts of the interest employees. પછી new social engineering techniques, need for governance, need to ensure continuity of business processes in the event of major exigencies. New social engineering, high impact due to intentional, etc. આમાં બહુ બધું છે, ચાલશે. Sure. Various term. Risk management. હવે risk management નો મતલબ શું છે કે it is a process of assessing risk, taking steps to reduce the risk to an acceptable level, and maintaining that level of risk asset diameter the vulnerability. It is a weakness in the system safeguard that exposes the system to threats. It may be a weakness in information system, cryptographic system, or other component security threat. Any entity, circumstance, or event with the potential to harm the software system or component through its unauthorized access, destruction, modification, and or denial of service is called a threat. Exposure. It is the extent of loss the enterprise has to face when a risk materializes. It is not just the immediate impact but the real harm that occurs in the long run. Likelihood of the event of the threat occurring is the estimation of the probability that the threat will succeed in achieving undesirable event. Attack. It is an attempt to gain unauthorized access to system server. Countermeasure. An action device or procedure or technique or other measure that reduces the vulnerability of a threat. Asset. They are recognized to be values of the organization. They are not easily replaceable. They form a part of the organization's corporate identity. Their data classification would normally be proprietary, highly confidential, and even top secret. Risk management. Risk management strategies. Tolerate or accept the risk, terminate or eliminate the risk, transfer or share the risk, treat or mitigate the risk, turn back. Tolerate or accept the risk. One of the primary functions of management is managing risk. Some risks may be considered minor because their impact and probability of occurrence is low. Terminate or eliminate the risk. It is possible for a risk to be associated with the use of a technology supplier or vendor. The risk can be eliminated by replacing the technology. Transfer or share the risk. Risk mitigation approaches can be shared with trading partners and suppliers. A good example is outsourcing infrastructure management. Treat or mitigate the risk where other options have been eliminated. Suitable controls must be devised and implemented to prevent the risk from manifesting. Turn back where the probability or impact of the risk is very low. Then management may decide to ignore the risk. There you go. Tolerate or accept the risk, terminate or eliminate the risk, transfer or share the risk, treat or mitigate the risk, and turn back. ERM ના પહેલા components internal environment, પહેલા general tone of organization, risk appetite, risk management philosophy એ બધું જો. પછી objective setting. Objective should be set before management can identify events potentially affecting their achievement. એટલે event identify કરવા પહેલા objective setting કરો, પછી event identification કરો. જે બી objectives ની વચ્ચે આવતા હોય, potential events that might have an impact on entity should be identified. Event identify includes identifying factors, internal and external, that influence how potential internal and external events identify risk assessment. Identified risks are analyzed to form a basis for determining how they should be managed risk associated with the related objectives. જે objective ની વચ્ચે આવતા તેને risk assessment કરવું, risk response. હવે assessment કરી લીધું તો તેની સામે response કરવો, control activities, policies and procedures are established and executed to help ensure that risk response management selected are effectively carried out. Control activities નાખવાની. Information and communication. Information is needed at all levels of an entity for identifying, assessing and responding to risk. Effective communication also should occur in a broader sense, flowing down across and top of the management of the. And then monitoring is accomplished through ongoing management activities, separate evaluations of ERM projects. Internal environment, objective setting, event identification, risk assessment, risk response, control activities, information and communication, and monitoring. Now, benefits of ERM. Benefits of ERM. Smiles. S. Aligned risk appetite and strategy. Aligned risk appetite and strategy. M. Minimize operational surprise and losses. Minimize operational surprise and losses. I. Identify and manage cross enterprise risk. Integrated response આપવાનો. L. Link growth, risk and return. E. Enhance risk response decisions. S. Seize opportunities and rationalize capital. Align risk appetite and strategy. Minimize operational surprises and losses. Identify and manage cross enterprise risk. Provide integrated response to multiple risks. Link growth, risk and return. E. Enhance risk response decision and seize opportunities and rationalize the capital. Benefits of ERM. Now, flowcharts. Flowcharts માં બે જ આન્સર છે. Advantages and disadvantages. પહેલું disadvantages કરી દે. Modification, reproduction, standardization. ત્રણ I1 જ છે. Modification, reproduction, standardization. Modification, reproduction, standardization. Complex logic, link between conditions and actions. Modification, reproduction, standardization. Complex logic, link between conditions and actions. Advantages. QCD की इफेक्टिव कोडिंग नहीं होती है. आई एम आस्किंग QCD की इफेक्टिव कोडिंग नहीं होती है क्योंकि उसमें प्रोग्राम डिबगिंग होता है और उसकी मेंटेनेंस और कंट्रोल की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कोई नहीं लेता है. क्यों? क्विकर ग्रास्प ऑफ रिलेशनशिप. CD communication documentation effective analysis कोडिंग एफिशिएंट कोडिंग. QCD की इफेक्टिव कोडिंग नहीं होती है. क्यों? क्विकर ग्रास्प ऑफ रिलेशनशिप, इफेक्टिव एनालिसिस, कम्युनिकेशन डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. सीडी નો મતલબ કમ્યુનિકેશન ડોક્યુમેન્ટેશન અને કોડિંગ એફિશિएंट કોડિંગ. હવે એનો આન્સર શું છે? क्योंकि उसमें प्रोग्राम डिबगिंग होता है. प्रोग्राम डिबगिंग होता है और उसके मेंटेनेंस और कंट्रोल की रिस्पांसिबिलिटी कोई नहीं लेता है. एफिशिएंट प्रोग्राम मेंटेनेंस, establishing controls and responsibility, identifying responsibilities, quicker grasp of relationships, effective analysis, communication documentation, efficient coding, program debugging, efficient program maintenance, identifying responsibilities and establishing controls.